Hey, welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be explaining the TRIARCHY, but before we begin, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Sith Citadel Discord, links in the description, and consider becoming a join member or sending a super thanks if you wish to further support the channel. Otherwise, let's jump straight into it. The TRIARCHY was an alliance of the free cities of Myr, Leash, and Tyrosh, three colonial daughters in the Valyrian freehold. In Westeros, the TRIARCHY was known as the Kingdom of the Three Daughters, or the Kingdom of the Three Whores. The TRIARCHY existed from 96 AC until its dissolution from a civil war that began in 130 AC. In 96 AC, Tyrosh, Lys, and Myr ended their strife and drove Volantis from the disputed lands, defeating the Volantes in the Battle of the Borderland and forging the eternal alliance of the TRIARCHY. The Myrish prince, Admiral Craegus Drayar, then led an invasion of the Stepstones, clearing out the pirate dens of the islands and making safe trade lanes on the Narrow Sea. The Seven Kingdoms initially approved of the TRIARCHY's actions, but Craegus and his co-admirals became greedy with their tolls. The Lyseni enslaved women, girls, and comely boys to bring back to their pillow houses, including Lady Joanna Swan, niece to the Lord of Stonehelm. In 106 AC, Westerosi forces led by Corlys Velaryon and Prince Daemon Targaryen began the War of the Stepstones, Daemon hoping to make himself a kingdom. Despite inferior numbers, they inflicted a string of defeats on the TRIARCHY for 2 years before Daemon slew Craegus Drayar in single combat. By 109 AC, Daemon's armies controlled all but 2 of the Stepstones, and the Sea Snake's fleets had naval supremacy. Corlys crowned Daemon the King of the Stepstones and the Narrow Sea. In 110 AC, the TRIARCHY dispatched a counterattack led by Ricalio Rhydun, supported by newly acquired Dornish allies, who were wary of the new Targaryen-backed Sellsword Kingdom controlling the Narrow Sea. Fighting continued in 111 AC, when Daemon withdrew to court as King's Landing for several months, and raged beyond 115 AC when Daemon returned to the Vale of Arryn after the death of his first wife, Lady Rhea Royce. 5 other men followed him as King of the Narrow Sea before the Sellsword Kingdom ended. Pentos, bordering Myr to the north and wary of the rising power to their south, often welcomed Daemon as an ally. Volantis similarly welcomed Daemon warmly when he visited, though it was in less of a position to fight back against its rivals to the west. The Three Daughters were not, however, so powerful that their influence spread to the northeast, where Norvos and Kor remained little concerned about them. In the Westerosi Civil War, called the Dance of the Dragons from 129 to 131 AC, Prince Daemon Targaryen and Lord Corlys Velaryon supported the Blacks of Rhaenyra Targaryen. Early in the fighting, the Velaryon fleet blockaded the Gullet and Blackwater Bay. Sir Otto Hightower, the hand of the king to Aegon II, and a leader of the Greens, reached across the Narrow Sea to the TRIARCHY, which he knew would be an enemy of Daemon. Otto hoped to persuade them to move against Corlys the Sea Snake and break his blockade. The High Council of the TRIARCHY eventually met in Tyrosh and chose to accept Otto's offer of an alliance. A combined fleet of 90 warships from the Myrish, Lysene, and Tyroshi, under the banners of the Three Daughters, commanded by the TRIARCHY's Admiral Shakaro Lohar of Lys, swept from the Stepstones, bending their oars for the Gullet. En route, they intercepted the Gay Abandon, which was carrying 2 of Rhaenyra Targaryen's sons, Prince Aegon and Viserys. Aegon escaped atop Stormcloud, but Viserys was taken as captive to Shirako. Once the news of the fleet's presence in the Gullet reached Dragonstone, Prince Jacaerys Velaryon swept down on Vermax and was soon joined by 4 other dragons. In the resulting Battle of the Gullet in nearly 130 AC, the prince met his demise. The fleet of the Three Daughters avoided Dragonstone and sacked Spicetown and High Tide on the Valyrian side of Driftmark, but took such heavy losses that it played no further part in the war. Only 28 of Shirako's ships, most of them Lyseni, returned home. The widows of the fallen Myrmen and Tyroshi accused Shirako of having held back his own Lyseni ships. The TRIARCHY began to tear itself to pieces in 130 AC, and the following year, Sir Marston Waters reported that it had collapsed. Shirako Lohar was killed by a rival for the affections of the Black Swan, Joanna Swan, but at the time, Tyrosh suspected it was an assassination arranged by Myr. A series of retaliatory murders followed, and the Daughters' War broke out 2 years after the Gullet. A rival alliance formed between Pentos and Bravos, and the normally isolationist Lorath, which helped bring down the Triarchy. Grandmaster Graydon wrote a comprehensive history of the Kingdom of the Three Daughters. The relatively short-lived union of Lys, Myr, and Tyrosh were amorphously defined, intended to be an eternal alliance between the former rivals. It was not quite a new political entity formed from these three constituents, but all three acting collectively. This alliance was governed by the High Council of the Triarchy, a group of 33 magisters with 11 from each city. The Triple Alliance was known by several names, all of which were actually inaccurate. Its official name was simply the Triarchy, but this was inaccurate for two reasons. Volantis was already famously ruled by three triarchs, so the union of the three cities was not the only triarchy in the world. And in truth, no officials in this alliance held the title of Triarch like in Volantis. Men in Westeros took to calling it the Kingdom of the Three Daughters, referring to the fact that the three Valyrian colony cities were all considered to be daughters of Valyria. Yet this was also inaccurate because it was not a kingdom and it had no king. So what did you guys think of the Triarchy? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Sith Citadel Discord, links in the description, and consider becoming a join member or sending a super thanks if you wish to further support the channel. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.